Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I don't know. Okay. So the 357 model is an intervention, and when I mean by the interventions of the model, it's a guided approach. So your role, those of you who are working with the young people or in your professional role, your engagement with them, your time spent with them, is to guide them towards the building of these relationships of permanency by understanding what has happened in their life and what has been impacted that. So we reference it as a guided approach to permanency. The model is a guide. You are the ones who are doing the guiding. You're guiding them through this approach to permanency in relationships. And as such, because you're guiding them to something specific like the relationship, it's directional. And it's directional because it's not just arbitrarily meeting with them, having a conversation, what's happening today. And there's a challenge in our field because workers change, placements change. We have very little continuity of the work that young people are doing. And you, in your role as the guide, is helping them make sense out of what happened to them, and that's their work to do. So it's directional from the perspective, or maybe a better way to say it, from the point of view, is that when you start to engage them, work with them, listen to them. What is it they want to do? What are their needs? And generally this goes beyond talking, because young people who are in pain or have been traumatized often don't have words, or they're not reflective, or they just don't want to talk about it. There's so much about the prior history, the trauma that they've experienced, that they're reluctant to talk to anybody about it because their experience has been people have not been there for them, people did not follow through, individuals have not, have not been trustworthy, and so they've learned to kind of figure it out for themselves and really not to rely on anybody. We call that trust, it should be someone they trust. But the trust has to develop. It develops over time with an individual or other individuals who are there for them, who meet their needs. That's, again, attachment work. In relation to the 357 model, it's who supports them understanding what happened to them and helps them take the pain away. Because we know that most of our young people they've been hurt and they're in pain. And so very much of our work in engaging them is to be supportive and to help them understand what has happened to them. And we do that through all of these activities. You have workbooks. Those activities are just possible ideas. There are many, many things we can do with young people. They're not, they're not specific to the activities in the workbook, but it's the idea that we're not talking so much with kids. We're giving them opportunities to do things, whether it be an activity, whether it be creating a picture of something, whether it be telling a story in some way. All of those are sensory experiences, and they tap into the memories, they tap into the emotions of those memories, and they give young people an opportunity to capture what has been their life experience. Talking does not give them an opportunity to do that. When people are stressed, and our young people are, and we take a lot of our information from post-traumatic stress research that's been wonderful to help us understand anyone who's experienced a trauma. From our perspective, it's about loss, that they are stressed. Their brain is stressed. And when you are stressed, you don't remember. You don't recall. So you can have a conversation with them, and 30 minutes later, they don't remember what you talked about because they were in that stressful time when they didn't sustain the words used. Once you start talking, you go to a place of thinking or feeling where specifically you go to that place of feeling. And if you're in that place of feeling and someone's talking to you, you don't really hear them. You're not really capturing what they're saying. Meanwhile, we think we're talking to them and they're hearing every word we say. They are not, because they are in that stressful place. So all that in the way of saying is that we want to have continuity as we guide them. We want to have that continuity, and the direction is towards their readiness to identify people in their lives who will be there for them or who they want to be there for them in a relationship. The other piece of that, as you know, and the other work that you're all doing in your project here, is engaging those other people. Who will make that commitment? Who has the capacity? And that's a key area of this. Who has the emotional capacity with that, within themselves to be present and to be available and to listen and to support the growth of this young person who they're going to make a commitment to? That's such a critical piece of that. And they must do their work to understand where they are in their life and who they are. It's not just saying, oh yeah, they can come and live with us, yeah, it's okay. We've been doing that kind of child welfare for decades. And it's not firm, it's not, there's not that sense of commitment, there's not that sense of actualization of the relationship. And so that's why we want them all to do these activities. So the directional approach means from start to when the decision is made for who are my relationships of permanency. That would be different for every young person. It's also dependent on who is available to them, family members, extended family members, friends, who might be willing to make that commitment to that young person in terms of an ongoing relationship. So in the model, then, we make available the tools for your workers and supervisors to direct these engagement activities, the decision-making strategies, and your own skill development. And the tools that we use are the Readiness Continuum and the Skills Development Guide. So I'm thinking, Jessica, when we did the training, your folks then received copies of both the Readiness Continuum and the Skills Development Guide. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, I wasn't there for that, but is this? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, we did.
Okay, so you do have that then. You have copies of both of those tools. Is that right?
No, I think she's talking about the readiness and
the work.
No.
We would have done that, Jessica, on the second day. We would have handed that out.
So Jessica stepped out briefly, but
oh, okay.
I was here during the first training.
Yeah.
Was there
and so were you there on the second day?
Uh-huh.
And do you remember, so the Readiness Continuum is 9 pages. Does that sound familiar? That's okay. Jessica may have that. I think I sent it to her as part of a handout for the training. So what we'll do is make sure you get copies of it. And briefly, what I'm going to do today is just kind of highlight what that is at the end of this little program. And then when we start our coaching, we'll talk more about the Readiness Continuum and the Skills Development Guide.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so next slide. Again, sorry I don't have a visual on that, but it's the outcomes. And basically, this is, what we're trying to do with all the young people and families that we work with. The model, 3x7 model, gives the opportunity for the expression of thoughts and feelings. It honors past events, explores the answers to their questions. It helps establish supportive permanent connections, and it encourages their growth for future like you. So that's, ultimately, when we're getting to that place where they're going to be ready to be out on their own, we are believing that they will have achieved some or part of these outcomes. So the next slide is the 3x7 model, and it's 3 tasks, it's 5 questions, and it's 7 skills. I've been referencing those just in a narrative sort of way in what I've already said. But the